Well, hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Michael V. Wilkins Sr. I'm the founder and CEO of SPAA USA, SPAA Theater and Performing Arts Center, and SMART, SPAA's Mississippi Redemption Theater. So I want to take this opportunity to welcome you all to another exciting SPAA Authors Academy podcast. Today, I'm fortunate enough to be your host, and we have a phenomenal guest on here today that I'm always excited to speak to. And it's none other than Miss Tammy Montgomery-Dozi'er. How you doing today, ma'am?
I am doing good. Thank you, sir. I'm very excited to be here today.
I think I got to get my stuff hooked back up because this is the part where you go and all that stuff. So right. So we have to get them sound effects straight again. But anyway, I think this is just going to be another great podcast. You've been doing this stuff for quite some time. In fact, this is one of the things that you thought about in terms of the podcast, because we have a SPAA Authors Academy and we have a SPAA Speakers Academy. And because you were doing podcasts, you thought, hey, this will be a wonderful opportunity for us to help other authors and other speakers. And I wanted to start with that because you didn't have to do that. You could have thought, hey, I got my podcast, y'all get y'all. You came up with an idea to help other authors to promote their books and their speaking engagements and things like that. That says a lot about you, despite all the things I hear when you were doing your murder mysteries about you. But that says some good stuff about you. So let's talk a little bit about Tammy, which, of course, at the theater we call Taminay. We'll have to probably figure out why we do that. Of course, I know. But anyway, the question is, tell us a little bit about Tammy. Tell us a little about you.
Well, I am a wife, a daughter. My intentions was never to be where I am right now. I am grateful to you for having this platform for me to share with other people. I am the shy one of the group, the most
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Of SPAA. They don't want you to know, but I am.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a very passionate person, and thank you for saying that about me as far as us wanting to do a podcast. I think that everybody should have the opportunity to get whatever it is that's in them out and for people to be able to see it. So again, I'm an author. I am a life coach. I am a director, all of these things by way of SPAA. So I went from being shy girl number one to all of these different things.
That sounds like a bad 5 Heartbeat movie, Shy Girl. So now you said you're a wife, a daughter, and all this stuff, but not necessarily in that order, I take it. But okay, where were you born?
I was born in Chicago.
Chicago, the windiest city. And I understand you have nice weather in Chicago.
Yes, we do. Thank you. It's really nice here. Thank you.
I'm not saying nothing else because I know how y'all love to hate me.
Right.
So, but anyway, so you're born in Chicago. So you've been in Chicago pretty much all of your life?
All of my life, except for I did go to school. I went away to college at Jackson State University. So I was in Mississippi.
Oh, in Mississippi.
Yeah, I was a Mississippian for a while, And most people think I have an accent. Most people think I'm still Southern from the country.
No, I knew I liked you for some reasons because that Mississippi part. Yeah, I like that Southern girl stuff. Yeah, okay.
That's right. Barefoot, walking, running. Loved it.
Yeah, now that's downright country. That's different.
I am.
Yeah. So you went to Jackson State in Mississippi to school.
Yes.
How did you end up going there if you were born and raised in Chicago?
You know what? Actually, I had family members that were in school down there. My uncle graduated from Jackson State. He was in school. And what really got me to thinking about a HBCU was The Cosby Show. I enjoyed watching that show so much. I was like, I wanted to be a part of that. And they brought out A Different World with Lisa Bonet. And I was like, oh, my God, that is where I have to be. And that was like the best experience in the world. And I went
So you actually wanted to go to Spelman or something, but you found out they didn't exist.
No, Hillman. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah. Hillman. That's what it was. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to Hillman.
Right. That's really exciting. So when you completed your school there, you came back to Chicago or what?
Yes. Came back.
And decided not to stay in Mississippi with your Southern roots?
No, I did not. Actually, I came back. I'm telling my business, but I am going to tell it. I had a boyfriend up here. So
So you're like, all right, I'm done with school. I'm finna go get back with Pretty Ricky.
Yeah, and he dumped me when I got back.
Yeah, see, you should have called me before you came back. I would have told you. See, yeah, them long distance relationships, despite what they say, sometimes they work out pretty good.
Right. So, yeah.
It's when they ain't long distance no more, you start to have problems. But anyway, that's Pretty Ricky's loss.
Right.
So now, throughout getting done with school and stuff like that, and 2 years of working and stuff like that, what was your initial involvement in SPAA? How did you get introduced to SPAA?
I came to one of your productions. One of my friends were in your production. If you've been around for a while, her name is Jackie Grover. And I've always wanted to be a background singer. So I was like, if I can just be a background singer, then Kirk Franklin would notice me and flat out, I'm going to be the best background singer in the world. So that's
you
why
wanted to be a part of God's property.
Yeah, I did. I had the moves down pat. I was ready. Through my initiation to getting into that. So I don't know if you knew that. I was trying to use SPAA to get into that field because I was going to be this phenomenal background singer.
Background singer. That was your highest aspiration. You want to be a background singer for Kirk Franklin. Well, I'm going to let my secret out in case you didn't know. You are God's property. I'm just saying.
Thank you.
And you did some background singing. So all your stuff that came to fruition.
It did.
So now, beyond achieving your goal as a background singer, because that's how you started with us, what happened after that?
So when I first started, and I was just terrified to death of you, I'm like, because you're very blunt and you say what you mean and you mean what you say. And I had never been around anybody like that. And so you'd be like, girl, get out the corner. I'm like, oh my God, listen, I'm where I want to be, in this corner in the back, and you saw something in me. And then I ended up doing my first production in SPAA. And I played your wife. We played hillbillies. Wives.
I don't think everybody was acting. That's all I'm saying.
And that's how I got my start. And then my friend said, well, you know what? You might be interested in the other part of SPAA, the Speakers, Publishers, and Authors Association. So I went to a meeting. Enjoyed it. Phenomenal. It was phenomenal. I mean, all the professional people. I had never been to an organization where there were so many people that looked like me. We started on time. It was just awesome. I had never been in that type of environment. And I was hooked after that. And then after that, being shy girl, he was like, oh, well, since you're here, this is what we're going to do. I want you to be in leadership. I would go to the meetings. You would have, at that time, we were doing a conference call over the phone. And I would listen in. Then he's like, well, I want you to be in leadership. I'm like, what? Then I found out I was like vice president, like one day at a meeting. Like, what? I just got here. He said, well, you got to write a book. No, I'm still the background singer. So I ended up writing a book. And my first book, From F.A.D.S to Freedom, False Allegiance to Destructive Stuff, was born.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about that, because I like the book and the premise, stuff like that, because there are a lot of things that, people have false allegiance to. So first of all, how did you come up with that particular idea? Why?
I was sitting at work one day, and believe it or not, I was just saying, what, if I were to write a book, because that had never crossed my mind, that would be the name F.A.D.S. Because at that time I was going through a lot of different things and I liked it. And the premise of having F.A.D.S, because that's what we do. We do that every single day of our life. Something comes out, a new diet, a new car, some food, whatever it is, it's a fad. Look at what happened with the Popeye's chicken sandwich.
That was so crazy to me. I still don't understand that.
Me either. Toilet paper, disappearing off shelves. So things happen in our lives and we just go through them, and we do all of these things because everybody else is doing it. But why? And so I had to look within myself to figure out, why do I do these things? And so that's what that was about.
Okay, well, that makes sense. We're skating over, since it's in a book. I imagine we could talk about it. So what type of things we're having F.A.D.S at? What were we going through? You said you was going through a lot. Let's talk about some of that.
So for me, in F.A.D.S, I had a food addiction. Found myself at like 274 pounds.
Oh, me and you must be related, because me and food get along just fine, right. Specifically sweets.
Yeah, credit cards. Oh, I love to shop. I still like to shop, but I'm more economical. But I did think I was making like $8.25 an hour in my 20s, shopping at Marshall Fields, thinking that I was rich because I had a credit card. I bought my first Coach purse and Marshall Fields. I was like, oh, I have arrived. I will go there on lunch. And here it is. I'm making $8 or something
an hour, and you're spending $100 an hour.
Exactly. And those are the things that I was doing to myself, spending all this money and doing all these things and bad relationships and not having great people in my life. And so that's where the book derived from.
Wow. And so now when writing this book, how do you get past, for those authors out there or potential authors who are wanting to know, well, how do I talk about these things? Because about some very personal things in terms of, your weight gain and your weight loss and the spending and things like that. So you talked about some very personal things. What about those people out there like, oh, well, I just don't want to talk about this stuff? What's your advice to them?
Well, I know when I was writing my book and I sat down and talked with you and you told me that I had to be ready. Because if I wrote it and I wasn't ready, then it would bother me. And I had to be able to stand in my truth. And so at that present time with that book, I was able to talk about that because that was a truth that I was able to look in the face and deal with. But if you're not ready to tell the truth about yourself, don't do it because it's going to eat you up inside. And it's personal information you're sharing with the world. And sometimes people can take that information and use it against you. So you have to be prepared for that too. It's not going to be pretty because you're sharing your truth. Not everybody is going to accept it, but you just have to be ready for whatever happens.
And I think that's some realistic and important advice to the people who are listening to this or watching this, because that's one of those particular things that everybody who's smiling in your face ain't your friend and doesn't necessarily want to see you succeed. So you have to know when is when for you, because when you're ready, you have to be able to deal with those things. I think one of the side effects of that is you have no idea the number of people that you help by telling your truth. Because many times I found that there are a lot of people who think, oh, this happens to nobody but me. It's only me happening to. And some cry silently alone, thinking that they're going through something all by themselves. When I was really grateful for you having the courage to talk about these things and to be honest about these particular things, and not necessarily understanding that it not only helps other people, but it helps you as well. So I wanted to commend you for that. I thought it was a really good book, and I was really proud of you being to step out and do what you had done in the midst of all the things that was going on. And I think one of the truths is, like what we talked about earlier or in another podcast, that, 20 years or whatever, it doesn't matter, because you still can go through some of those things and have to deal with those things. So you're right. You have to be ready. But I always remind people, be careful. You don't say, oh, I got to get all my ducks in a row here before I can do something else. And when you get these in a row, that somebody back here knocking these down. So, you have to be ready where you are with what you have to be able to move on. And I think that's what you did. So I wanted to commend you for that, because I think you did a phenomenal job. But I found out it didn't stop there.
No, it did not.
So the person who just wanted to be a background singer, who actually achieved her goal of becoming a background singer, then a lead singer, then a producer and a director and a writer of her own plays, and then she wrote F.A.D.S to Freedom. And I understood you wrote another book.
Yes, I did. Addicted to Pain.
Oh, first of all, I just love that title. And I think you're absolutely correct. So let's talk about this book. What's this book about? First, tell me, why did you write this book?
Oh, gosh, it was something. So I remember going to the SPAA meeting. You and I, we were at a SPAA meeting in Milwaukee. And there was a young lady I had just got through talking about from F.A.D.S to Freedom. And I was talking about the book. And a young lady came up to me and whispered in my ear. She said, soon you're going to talk about more than that book. You have a whole other story to talk about. And I was looking at her like, lady, I don't know you. And I'm not talking about nothing else, because I was
lying to me.
Right. Don't be saying that stuff to me. And what happened? I had I'm going to say like a breakdown of all the things that happened in my life They just came rushing in. And that's just to say, for people out there, if you keep sweeping things under the rug, eventually that pile gonna get high and you can't do nothing to hide it.
A
And
big
so,
lump in your rug.
right. And so with the help of you and my SPAA family, I was able to get through it. And some things came up to surface for me about the pains in my life. The first book, I talked about the pains. But this book, I talked about the being raped, which I had never talked about to anybody about the being molested. Had never talked. Nobody in my family knew. My SPAA family knew before my
getting us in trouble, right? I get it.
right. And Dr. Wilkins, I thank you for being instrumental in listening to me talk, because there were times where I couldn't, even talk about anything that had gone on with my life. And I'm grateful to be able to do that right now. And I think what happened, I became a rape crisis counselor because I thought that I can go out and help other people because it had happened to me, but I really wasn't thinking about that part. But whatever was in me just resurfaced and it came out. And that's where Addicted to Pain. And actually, Kirk Franklin has a song called Chains. And there is a part in that song that talks about being addicted to pain. So, Kirk, I'm still coming for you. I'm still coming for you.
Kirk, it ain't happening. She's all ours now. But I think that is so important. And I do recall that you would go out and try to help people and stuff like that who had been through those situations. And I think that's important because sometimes we try to hide behind things and thinking that this is a way that you can get over it. But that also caused you to have to relive some traumatic events in your life. And so you had to deal with those things before you could go further. And that's why I'm not only proud of you, I'm so grateful for you having the courage to do what a lot of people may not have done. And so for you to be able to write this book about being addicted to pain, especially based upon the traumatic experiences in your life, I think it's so important that other people understand first that they're not going through this alone by themselves, that there are other people who've done this. There are people that they can talk to. And I think that the work that you begin to do in mental health issues is, I think, what propelled us to many of the things that we've been able to accomplish together, simply because you sought, not only ways that you will be able to overcome some of the experiences that you had to deal with in your life, but to help other people through this. And I think that's kind of the main line that I'm always on when I tell people all the time, you have to be a blessing to others. And if you're being a blessing to others, you'll be blessed tremendously. I believe that with everything in me. And I think that you're a walking example of that, especially being able to do the stuff that you have been able to do through this particular book. So I'm really grateful for that and all the things that you've done up to this point. But I know God's still not through with you yet, because you're a very, very talented writer. I think recently, which contest did you win for SPAA?
I won the writers contest.
You won a writers contest. And so every year we have a writers contest. And of course, we have a speaking contest. But she won the year's writing contest.
Yes.
And how was that? How did that come about, you winning this particular contest?
I wanted to try my hand at some fiction. Never knew that I could write. I want to try. Everything I have is, is based on reality, based on nonfiction. So I wanted to try my hand at some fiction to see how creative I was. And I'm creative.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. And just like I think about acting, some of the best actresses or actors in the world, I think, are crazy. So because you have to be to go back and forth,
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's live or Memorex. So yeah, I think most of them are crazy. And I'm just saying you're a very good actress and stuff.
So
don't read that into it. I'm just
thank you. Is it a compliment?
That's a compliment. So I'm just saying, but along with that, being able to, I think this is so important and it's intriguing to me because I've been writing for so long. But for you to be able to create stuff out of the vivid imagination of your mind is something I said, because I read that entry and I don't mind telling folks, because people know you and I have been working together for some years. And so they tend to think that you get favoritism from me. And I don't know where they get that from. If they had any idea how much I curse you out and how much work you have to do, then they'll stop saying that. But the point is, because it's also about the perception of things. So I said, look, we came down to different people on the committee votes for, who's going to win the writing contest. And you actually was pretty much had won place with my vote. So I said, I'm not voting for her because I had to deal with the fallout. So I called 2 independent people and made them read that something, and they both voted for you as well. It was unanimous as number 1 that you won that contest on some fiction stuff that you submitted. And I'm just saying, so I encourage you to continue to do those because you have a great deal of talent. That's very, very clear. But I think perpetrating those lies about the shyness stuff is sometimes I'm not saying that's what you did, but the other person I'm interviewing, that they have to understand that you are very, very extremely talented, but you have the right heart. And I think that's what separates you from a lot of different people. They don't have the right heart. They're in it for the wrong reason. I think it's ridiculous for us to think that we don't need money to survive because everything, got something to do with money and stuff. But if you have a higher calling, a higher principle or belief that you have to help others, that I believe is going to propel you to the greatness that you're definitely on your way to achieving. You just can't give up. And a lot of times I think for many of the people out there, if struggle, adversity happens, they want to give up. And that's why I have to encourage you. You just can't give up. And you are a perfect example of that with what you've done, what you've been able to do, and what you're going to continue to do. Also, along with those, you also wrote a book called SPAA Kids. Tell us a little bit about that while we got a little time.
So during my time here, during the pandemic, as we call it here, I had lost my job. One day I came in, they said, "You're non-essential." Kind of hurt my feelings. I'm like, I'm non-essential. But I was born.
I think, I think I'm essential.
Right. So, it's just the terminologies that they use. I'm like, okay. But anyway, sitting at home one day, and I was like, well, I've never done a kid's book. So I called you up. I said, Pastor Mike, I want to do SPAA Kids, and I want to use some of the people from our organization. And I had everybody send me pictures of themselves, and I had caricatures done of everyone. And it was just something that just came out of the blue. I don't know why. I was just sitting at home saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And because I couldn't do my mental health, what happens in this house stays in this house benefit, I figured I would have some kids to talk about mental health. And that is how that came about. Just came to mind one day. So I'm grateful for you letting me do that. So
well, it obviously goes to show that if you just do those things instead of talking about doing them, if you do those things, it really pays off in the long run, because we had no idea about the Choices and Consequences program that we developed, that we decided, hey, and I was the way I was like, let's do this book and do some stuff.
Right.
And I contacted a few authors like yourself and James Collins and some others and said, hey, let's do some contributing stuff with this book. No idea, just wanted to do it, just like she did for the SPAA Kids. And then we found out that we received a government grant as a result of this particular program. And not only were we able to use this thing that we had written, Choices and Consequences, for this particular program, but then we were able also to institute what initially was the SPAA Kids that is now called Connected by Love, Chances, Choices, and Changes.
Yes.
And that to me is some phenomenal stuff, because when we were doing this stuff and writing this stuff and thinking about this stuff, we had no idea what was going to happen with this stuff. So once again, that's the reason why I'm so very proud of you and encourage you to keep on doing what you're doing, regardless of what everybody else around you is doing. I think you've been doing some phenomenal stuff. And I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, that there's so much or more into you, and I'm going to help beat it out you. So
I'm sure.
Having said that,
people.
it's a true story. But Now, what about you? Is there any particular thing that you'd like to leave our audience, listeners, viewers with in terms of things about writing a book or encouraging them in some way? So what is it that you'd like to leave us with?
Don't underestimate yourself. All these years, and because of all the things I had gone through, I had led myself to believe that I was just a background singer. I was only good enough for that. And sometimes in life, when you don't peel back the layers of all the damage that has happened to you, then you will continue to live that life. And you just have to step out there and do whatever it is that you were meant to do. You know, some people, they know in this world, they know like, okay, when they're younger, I want to be a doctor or a nurse. And some people know. But others of us, we are guided into whatever it is our calling is. And it's by way of things that has happened to you. If those bad things hadn't happened to me or throughout my life and I hadn't stumbled upon or been introduced to SPAA, I don't know where my life would be. Oftentimes people say that SPAA, changed their life and helped them. I am a true testament that I would not be where I am today. I wouldn't be an author. You know, I played Natalie Cole. Go figure. I've done Jill Scott. I've done a whole bunch of different things on stage. I've written a play. I've also helped other people write their plays. Even got paid to write somebody's play.
Hello.
So don't underestimate who you are and don't believe people who, when they tell you who they think that you are. You have to know within yourself who you are. You know, you have to say, you know what? If there's something like bugging you or something that's inside of you, say, I know that I'm meant for greatness. More than likely you are. You just got to find it within yourself, sit back and get in tune with yourself. Because sometimes what I do for myself, I have to meditate and take time out for me to get myself mentally prepared for my daily chores or whatever it is that I need to do. And that's what most people have to do. Sit down and get to know you. Oftentimes we don't know ourselves. If you ask somebody what they do, half the time they tell you what they do for a living, not who they are.
Exactly.
They tell you what their job is. So most people are living their lives through whatever their job is versus who they are and who they were created to be. So find that passion, and it is there. And don't let nobody tell you nothing different, because if it's a vision that you have, God didn't give it to nobody but you. And just keep going for it.
That's very well said and very true. So now if someone wanted to reach you in terms of getting perhaps copies of your books or some advice or anything like that, how do we contact you?
So you can definitely reach me at SPAA at www.spausa.org or spaatheater.org, 708-785-7371 is Dr. Wilkins. You can find my books on Amazon. It's under Tammy Montgomery-Dozi'er. And I have a website, www.connectedbyloveconsulting.net.
Okay. Well, we certainly encourage you guys to reach out to her. She's truly phenomenal. And I promise you, in this short amount of time that we had today, you have no idea of all of the tremendous talents that this young lady has. Many of the talents which we could not discuss on tape, but I'm just saying. But I want to take this opportunity once again to thank you all for joining us in SPAA's Authors Academy Podcast. And certainly for those of you who are interested, please reach out to us. We're standing by to make sure that we can help you become the person that you were meant to be. So once again, we want to thank you, Miss Tammy Dozi'er, for joining us on this podcast and all of your tremendous work. And we thank all of you for taking some time out of your busy schedules to tune in. Thank you. Be blessed.